Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lok. I'm from PINTAS. I'm an IP lawyer. So today, I'm going to share with you in the 20 minutes presentation the relevance of IP to internet entrepreneurs. I would like to start my presentation by looking at two of the world's most successful internet company. First, Amazon.com. Amazon.com is one of the world, or it is the largest e-commerce site in the world. And we all know that the founder is the richest man in the world now. And behind the success of Amazon.com, we find that the company is powered by some very important IPs. Amazon.com owns the famous one-click patent, how it can deliver e-commerce by using a one-click action. That process of doing e-commerce was patented by Amazon.com, and the patent just expired last year. But this patent actually bring a lot of mileage to the company in making them one of the most successful e-commerce company. And also, Amazon.com owns many important trademarks like Amazon.com, one-click, world biggest selection, logo, all this is owned by Amazon.com. And besides the one-click patents, Amazon also owned many others patents. How you can do referral using the internet, how you can find your purchases easily using the platform. Behind the successful platform, there are many technologies unique to Amazon.com, which was patented by Amazon.com. The next case that I would like to share with you is Google. Google is also the most important search engine that we know of today. And Google has two important services. One is the Google Search Services, and the second one is the targeted advertising or the AdWords services. So these two important services are protected by a number of patents that Google filed. The way we can search more quickly and more effectively through the internet using Google's technology, the indexing technology, the extraction technologies are well protected by Google. And of course, the brand of Google and AdWords is also trademarked by Google's. So if you look at Google as a whole, 99.9% of the value of Google comes from intellectual properties in one form or the other. The brand itself is worth more than 16% of the total value of Google. And the rest of the asset lies in the form of patents, in the form of copyright. And so as we can see, for internet entrepreneur to succeed, intellectual property is a very important asset for the business. So to be successful, any businesses, either online or offline, has to come up with new ideas to deliver better value, better services to the customer. And all these ideas can be protected in one form or the other by different types of IPs. So as you can see from the case of Google, they patented their ideas, the technology, the functional ideas behind their successful business is all protected by patent. And if you have ways where you can promote your brand, then your identification, your web presence can be protected by trademarking your domain name, trademarking your brand. And of course, in today's internet world, you need to have a lot of content. Content in the form of videos, in the form of e-books, in the form of photograph. All these contents are protected by copyright. So, your internet e-commerce business is actually, your internet-based business is actually backed by all these IP assets. And these important assets by registering IP, you can create a barrier of entry over your unique selling proposition, your core competency, so that the competitors who see at your successful business model, they cannot just come in and copy away your competency. So in the world of software, in the world of internet, anyone can write software and to deliver the same process or services online. But once this process and services is patented, then you have the unique, you own it. You become the owner of the process. You take away freedom to operate from your competitors. And I'm going to share with you one example of the importance of freedom to operate. This is a war that happened between Apple and Androids. Apple wants to find a way to keep Androids from competing with their operating system. So one of the things that they did, Apple did was they worked together with a few players like Microsoft, like BlackBerry, and they bought over 6,000 patents from Notel. The patent filed by Notel is relating to telecommunication, internet, search, networking, and so on. So by acquiring all these patents, they come up with a consortium, call themselves Rockstar, and they sue Androids. They use IP as the way to block Androids from doing business. Because you acquire the IP, you have the freedom to operate. You keep competitor from doing the same thing. So in order to fight this, the IP war, what the Android did was they have to buy more patents from Motorola Mobility and use it, to counterattack. So in the world of e-commerce, the world of internet business, you can write any software, you can produce any source code, but if the basic flow is already patented by someone, then you have no freedom to operate. So if you come up with some innovative process, innovative idea, and you think this idea can deliver a lot of value, it is important that you own it. So in my next few slides, I just want to share with you some of the IPs that internet entrepreneurs should look at. First and foremost, your brand, your trademark. So these are all very famous internet brands. And also very important is for you to own your domain name, register your domain name, because domain name is a gateway to your company, to your product and services. So do register those domain name as a trademark. Content, as I mentioned just now, a lot of your web presence, a lot of your contents are copyright protected. From the basic source code underlying your website, to the videos, to the graphical design, to the ebooks that you post on your website to promote your product and services, you need to use copyright to protect it. And also, patent. Patent is also important for internet entrepreneur because there's a lot of innovation now happening in the business model going online. Traditionally, patent has been used to protect innovative products like new machine, new article, new processes. But increasingly, as businesses are going online, there's a lot of new innovation in the business model. A lot of traditional business model has been replaced by the web-based business model. And this web-based business model, if it's a new business model, potentially you might want to look at patenting them. So, traditional businesses have to reinvent themselves in order to compete in the age of e-commerce or the internet world. So if you look at the statistics, the number of patents in the field of internet-related field has been increasing over the years. We have been filing more and more patents in the field of mobile solutions, and lately on the blockchain technologies. And I would say that not less than 30% of the patent that we file nowadays relates to e-commerce, internet related. So if you are an entrepreneur and you are going to deliver certain unique solution using internet, then do consider patenting those business model. One very famous example is a one-click patent owned by Amazon.com. So what Amazon.com did in 1997 was they were the first to find a way to complete an e-commerce transaction by using a one-click action. So what happened here is in 1997, no one knew how to do e-commerce in the most convenient and the shortest way. So Amazon.com feared that, okay, I can do it by using a one-click. By clicking one time on the icon that you want to order, the product that you want to sell, to buy, and your identity will be sent to the merchant, and the whole transaction is completed. And that one-click action, which was patented by Amazon.com, has since become the industrial standard. All e-commerce websites use that to do e-commerce. And Amazon.com actually successfully enforced the patent against Barnes & Noble. Because Barnes & Noble thought in 1997 they were the biggest bookstore offline. They feel that you can do, I also can do. I have all the resources to do it. But Amazon.com owns this very important patent, which they successfully use against Barnes & Noble and stop Barnes & Noble from doing the same thing without the license from Amazon.com. So this is one example of how a company established itself by protecting the online business model. Another example, I have a few examples to share, but I think I only have 3 minutes left. The other one will be the Priceline.com, online auctioning system by Priceline.com. It's a very famous patent also, where you can do reverse auctioning. Instead of like seller offering to sell, the buyer can auction to buy. Right? Auction to buy, go to this platform. You have extra last-minute tickets. You can, buyer can offer a price, then up to the seller to accept or not the offer. So that system of doing reverse auctioning was patented by Priceline.com, and it also became one of the very famous and successful websites. And nowadays, if you go online, and if you search certain keyword often enough, you will see, advertisement popping up on your website. So what is behind all this popping up? It is actually, this technology is owned by DoubleClick. DoubleClick study your behavior and sell data about your behavior to advertiser. So if you search online hotel, then you will see a lot of hotel coming to your website. So behind all this technology, all this solution, there are certain patented technology which companies use it successfully. Business model on fintech has been patent. There's a lot of patent on the fintech related solution. Online fintech customer rewards and directory search engine related. So a lot of this innovative solution provided online by innovative company are actually patented. And using the patent, they are able to secure a niche market for themselves, and they keep competitors at bay. So I think with the time I have, I would say what is important is if you're an internet entrepreneur, you have unique selling proposition that you want to offer online, then protect all this with one or the other form of IP that will give your unique selling proposition, a barrier of entry to competitive threats. With that, I have more slides, but I have no time. I think I come to the end of my presentation. I think I will take questions from the floor, anything that you want to ask.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lok. My name is Dylan. I have two questions for you. The first question is, in the Malaysian context now, does the government or the industry actually recognize the protection of the IP in terms of filing patents over business models or source code?
Okay, there are two schools right now. The US will allow for business software, business method software to be patented readily, provided that the process is a new process and it has benefits, business benefit. So what is required in US, the US jurisdiction, is if you can show that the process that I have is a unique process and it has business benefit, you can file patent. On the other jurisdiction, you have the European jurisdiction, where you need to show technical effect on top, yeah, technical effect. So if you ask me, Malaysia, I think Malaysia, we don't know yet because there's no, we have not been testing that in court yet until today, but there are many patents, business method software, business model software has already been granted in Malaysia, okay? So what we need to do is when we draft this type of patent in Malaysia, we have to pay more attention to the technical effect. Like for example, if you look at all this internet search software or technology, it creates technical effect because it allows you to search the engine or search the result faster. These are all technical effect. It's not pure business benefit. For Malaysian context, I think if you want to file this type of patent, put more attention to demonstrating that your technology has certain technical effect, then it should be fine.
Okay, the second question is, again, in the Malaysian context, how dynamic is filing the patent nowadays? Because as far as I know, to file a patent, it takes about 2 to 3 years, even for them to recognize. So the process of actually getting it done is pretty slow, and it doesn't actually give the benefits that actually it seeks to. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I think in Malaysia we have about 10,000 patents, 8 to 10,000 a year filed in Malaysia. Only about 10% is local patent. Most of the patents are from overseas. So if you look across the world, I think it takes you about 3 years minimum to 5 years to get a patent granted. But your protection starts from the day you file. So once you file, it takes 3 to 5 years for the patent to be granted, but when it is granted, it starts from the day you file for 20 years. So in a way, you are protected. First of all, if you come up with a unique business model, you file it, you have a claim over it, right? You cannot say that someone else do something similar and they can threaten to sue you. This, you know, that's the defensive function that a patent can play for you to have freedom to operate. And secondly, you can start enforcing the patent after it is granted 3 to 5 years later, but the date of your right starts from the day you file. From the day you file, it lasts for 20 years. So in a way, you are protected after you file, even though it's not granted. It takes some time, yes. Anywhere you go, it takes some time, but you are protected. And once a patent is granted, you can, you know, retrospectively enforce your patent.
Sorry to top it up a bit on the question again. Let's say, for example, you actually file it, and then you being granted of the filing after 3 years. The windows between the first and the third year, where the technology changes so fast, perhaps after the 3 years, your patent is already out from the market already. So while I filed it in the first year, and then only 3 years later, I knew that it's actually been filed, how am I actually able to enforce it within these 2 years?
No, when you file a patent, you patent the flow, right? You are not tying your flow to a specific technology. If you look at Amazon.com, 20 years later, it's still relevant. So you can't say that, you know, Amazon.com way of doing e-commerce is not relevant. But, you know, throughout the last 20 years, probably, you know, the language has changed many rounds. So I think it depends on how you draft the claim, how you assert, you know, the patent that you file.
Thank you, Mr. Loh.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Look, I wish we had more time to answer more questions. I understand we've got 2 gentlemen who raised their hands here. Perhaps you'd like to ask him in person later on if you get the chance. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him another round of applause on IP considerations for your e-commerce website.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.